History remembers the conqueror, the tactical genius, the king who never lost a battle. But beneath the golden armor of Alexander of Macedon lay a terrifying transformation. This is not just a story of arrows and maps. It is a descent into a divine fever. What happens when a man is told from birth that he is not the son of a king, but the son of a god? By the age of 20, Alexander inherited a kingdom. By 26, he had dismantled the greatest empire the world had ever known. But as the borders of his map expanded, the borders of his sanity began to fracture. He didn't just want to rule the world, he wanted to transcend humanity. Tonight, we look past the myth of the great. We look at the man who tried to kill his own humanity to become an Olympian. Every monster has a creator. For Alexander, it was his mother Olympias. While his father Philip II was busy perfecting the Macedonian phalanx, Olympias was whispering in Alexander's ear. She claimed his true father was Zeus, that he was born from a lightning bolt. Alexander didn't just read the Iliad, he lived it. He slept with a copy of the book and a dagger under his pillow. He saw himself as the new Achilles. When he crossed into Asia in 334 BC, the first thing he did was visit Troy. He stripped naked and ran around the tomb of Achilles. It wasn't a tribute, it was a declaration. He was stepping into the shoes of a demigod. But there is a danger in chasing ghosts. Achilles died young, consumed by rage. Alexander was following the same map, straight into the heart of a darkness that would eventually swallow his friends, his army, and his soul. The turning point happened in the silence of the Egyptian desert. In 332 BC, Alexander made a perilous trek to the oasis of Siwa, home to the oracle of Amun Zeus. He went into the sanctuary alone, no witnesses, no records. When he emerged, something had changed. The priests addressed him as Son of God. For the world, it was a political move to secure the Egyptian throne. But for Alexander, it was the confirmation of his mother's whispers. After the fall of the Persian king Darius, Alexander's behavior shifted from king to autocrat. He began wearing Persian robes, lavish flowing silks that his Macedonian soldiers despised. He demanded proskynesis, the ritual of bowing and kissing the ground before him. To his soldiers, this was blasphemy. To Alexander, it was merely the respect due to a deity. The man who had shared their bread and fought in their trenches was disappearing behind a veil of incense and gold. Divine status breeds a unique kind of loneliness. If you are a god, then everyone else is a servant, and servants can be traitors. The quiet luxury of his court became a prison of fear. First, it was Philotas, his most trusted commander, executed for a conspiracy he likely didn't lead. Then came Parmenion, the old general who had served his father. But the true breaking point was the death of Cleitus the Black. During a night of heavy drinking in Samarkand, Cleitus dared to tell the truth. He told Alexander that he was not a god, that his glory was built on the blood of Macedonian peasants. In a fit of divine rage, Alexander snatched a spear and drove it through the heart of the man who had once saved his life at the Granicus. The silence that followed was the sound of a man realizing he had become a monster. He spent 3 days in his tent, weeping, refusing to eat. But even then, he didn't stop. The god could not apologize to the dead. Alexander pushed his men toward the edge of the world. He wanted the outer ocean, the place where the earth ended and the stars began. In India, his men finally broke. They weren't fighting for a king anymore. They were fighting for a man who had lost his mind to his own legend. They turned back. Alexander returned to Babylon, but the fire was gone. His closest companion, Hephaestion, died shortly after. Alexander's grief was pathological. He crucified the doctor. He ordered the manes of all horses to be shorn. He banned music in the empire. In 323 BC, at the age of 32, the god fell ill. As he lay dying, his generals asked him, "To whom do you leave your kingdom?" His final words were a curse, "Kratisto," to the strongest. Alexander achieved what he wanted. He became an immortal name, but in the process, he burned everything he touched. He conquered the world, but he died a stranger to himself. Perhaps the greatest tragedy of history isn't that Alexander died young. It's that he lived long enough to believe the lie that he was more than a man.